This week I'm doing another art journal page that I think a lot of people could actually try for themselves if you wanted to. I accidentally made a cute little art like this using this program SuchArt. It's a cute little game demo where you live as an artist in a world where robots have taken over. But they put you in this room with unlimited art supplies that just pop up with the press of a button, and people email you with commissions, and your job is literally just to be there and paint. And it's a good thing that they would accept anything because I cannot do digital art, and especially not with a mouse. What ended up happening is I lost my bucket of water and couldn't clean my paintbrushes. All of my colors started mixing to make this nasty brown and orange and green, and I ended up just scraping it with my digital palette knife that made it kind of look like bark, and just the way that I was able to paint over it to make it look like trees, it was really, really satisfying. So I thought that it might be kind of fun to try to replicate that in my art journal. And I am working in this, what is this? This is an origami book. So I usually like to cover it with a bit of gesso to actually work better than these slightly semi-glossy pages. And I glued on some papers. I just got a bunch of those pattern papers for like sewing clothes. And I just wanted to start with something like that to get it going. I think I might have been using the jelly gouache for this, and I found it a little bit more difficult to get the texture and the scraping in real life than I did in the game. I think in the game the paint stays wet for a very long time, so in real life using something like this that's not oil based, I wasn't really able to get the same texture. But if you wanted to try this out, maybe something with a more like slow dry medium, maybe some golden open paints or something like that, might be a little bit easier to get an interesting scraping texture. With the side to side, it makes it almost kind of look like a birch tree, the way that birch trees always have that like horizontal bark pattern that I think is really cool. I also wanted to incorporate these child drawings because I have them tucked away in the book and I really want to use them. It's kind of my way of keeping things like this forever. Instead of just having like a box of keepsakes, I like to cut out the pictures, Kaylin's drawings, which is my friend's daughter, and using them in my art journal. And it almost feels more like a collaboration piece in a way. So feel free to ignore that. This art journal also has a musical lyric theme, so I'm going to have a lyric of some kind on this page as well. Again, feel free to ignore that. Once I have a good texture down to imitate my process that I had in the video game, I painted the negative space around it to make it look like trunks coming out. And I didn't quite get the color that I had. It was more like a neutralized pale blue, green, teal color, which is really pretty. This one's definitely more blue than I wanted it to be. I'm sort of free-handing it, which is, it got me in a little bit of trouble later on when I started adding branches and losing track of what was positive space and negative space. Really weird. I don't know what happened to my brain, but the process of doing the background was really satisfying, but it was less satisfying using the jelly gouache because the layers underneath do pick up, and I was trying really hard not to do that. I wanted it to be very opaque, solid color. So I did spray this page beforehand using a workable fixative. I think that's what it was. Keep it from reactivating in a way. I don't know if that actually worked that well, but it worked a little bit, I think. But this would work really good with like acrylic or something that doesn't reactivate. I added some branches in a darker color and sort of outlining the trunks a little bit, and that's where my brain kind of shut off, and I wasn't making a note of like which parts were the trees and which parts were the skies. I don't know if I was just really distracted at the time, but like there are lots of times where you'll see me kind of making a tree branch come out of nowhere, and then I have to fix it later. And the part where I added the leaves, I think that could have gone way better if I had a more vibrant, more opaque yellow that wasn't picking up the colors underneath them. But it worked so well in my painting in the video game because my hand hurts a lot using that game. I think part of it is because the controls are backwards, so it was right click applying paint, but by then I was just getting really tired. So I ended up just flipping the straight flat brush and just stabbing the painting to make rectangle leaves, and I thought that actually looked so cool that I was really hoping that I could replicate that in real life. But I didn't really have a paintbrush large enough to achieve that, a perfect rectangle leaf. So if you have like a big 2-inch or something flat paintbrush that you use to paint your walls or something, I think that would work really good. Just stamp the leaves on the branches wherever it looks cool. And so I ended up with this really neat art journal background that doesn't require a whole lot of skill because it's just really basic shapes, stamping of the leaves. I think anyone at any level of ability could attempt something like this and make something really cool. So let me know if you tried this out and how it worked for you. If you wanted to try the demo of this game, I'll try to remember to leave a link to it. Stay awesome, have fun, I'll see you later.